Hello, this is John from TC Math Academy, and in this particular video, we're going to practice our ability to evaluate an algebraic expression or a variable expression given particular values for variables. Okay, so here is the problem, and here is what the variables are equal to. So I'd like you to evaluate this. And I really don't want to explain this too much more because I want to give you a full opportunity for you to solve this problem all on your own. And I would certainly encourage you to put your calculator away. But if you know how to do this problem, go ahead and put your answer into the comment section. I'm going to show you the correct answer in just 1 second. Then, of course, I'm going to fully explain this problem. Also, if you need math help with the course you're taking, test prep or homeschooling, make sure to check out my math help program at tcmathacademy.com. You can find a link to that in the description below. And if this video helps you out, don't forget to like and subscribe, as that definitely helps me out. Okay, so I'm going to show you the correct answer in just 1 second, but notice I said evaluate this expression for these values. Okay, so here we have an x and a y. And in algebra, these things are called variables, right? We have x, y, can have all different sorts of symbols. Generally, they're letters and lowercase letters that represent what? What does a variable represent in algebra? Well, these are nothing more than numbers. Now, what numbers? Well, it could be any numbers. However, sometimes you can assign a specific numeric value to these variables, right? So I'm like, all right, this right here, this x, I want you to think of it as a -3 and this y as a -7, and then do all this number crunching. Now, there is a little bit of a twist here, and that is these bars. If you're a little bit confused on that, of course, I will explain this. But let's go and take a look at the answer right now. So what is the answer? The answer is 0. Now, sometimes, students are a little surprised when they're doing all this like math work, and they're doing all this number crunching, and they get a 0 as their answer. Sometimes it might be kind of scratch their head. They'll be like, did I do that right? Because 0 is not often a common answer that you'll get. But believe me when I tell you, you will definitely see 0 as a final answer. So you really got to trust yourself. You're like, well, did I do this right? If I did this right, the answer is going to be whatever it's going to be. So if you got 0 as your answer, let's go ahead and fix up this little face here with a nice little happy face, an A plus, a 100%, and a few stars so you can tell your friends and family that you know precisely how to evaluate a variable expression given specific values for that for those variables. Okay, so very, very good. All right, now let's go ahead and get into this problem. Okay, so I pretty much set up the problem for you in the beginning of this video. All we're going to be doing effectively when we're asked to evaluate a variable expression or an algebraic expression for given values is just simply going to replace those variables for the values that are assigned. In this case, x is going to be equal to -3 and y is equal to -7. Now, so first, thing you want to be thinking is, oh, okay, I want to replace this x with the -3 and this y with the -7. But the next step here is really, really important. Okay, anytime you replace a value, a variable, okay, specifically a variable or variables with a value, I want you to always use parentheses, okay? So let's replace this x with a -3, and notice I'm not just writing -3 right here, -3 like so, all right? And I'm not just replacing this y with the -7 because you can run into problems, all right? So I'm just gonna make this easy on yourself. Get into the habit of plugging in values by using parentheses, all right? And this will save you a lot of heartache in mathematics. Okay, so we're going to replace this x with a -3. So I want to put parentheses -3 minus, right? So right here, there's a minus or subtraction operator right there. Okay, minus what? Well, whatever y is. So what is y? -7. So put parentheses and put that -7 inside parentheses. Okay. So when you're using parentheses, it's really going to help avoid confusion for multiple different scenarios in mathematics and algebra. Namely, when there's a whole bunch of negative signs floating around, and when you have to do things like the distributive property, et cetera, et cetera. But anyways, just get in the habit of using grouping symbols and parentheses, i.e., anytime you got to plug something in, put parentheses around those values. Okay, so at this point, we got a numeric problem that we need to simplify. No more variables. So we're not doing algebra, we're just doing number crunching. So we need to be thinking about the order of operations. All right, so hopefully you're pretty up to speed on order of operations. That's that stuff that includes PEMDAS, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It just tells us the order to do various operations. And now, if you need help with any of this basic math stuff, you're like, oh, I'm a little bit lost. I'm going to encourage you to check out one or two of my courses. One, either my Math Foundations course. It's a little mini course that covers all kind of basic math. It's a great little review for those of you that are kind of getting back into mathematics, really focuses on arithmetic and all those skills that you need to be successful in algebra. Okay, so we have to check out that course or my pre-algebra course. All right, but here I have parentheses, so I need to look inside parentheses and kind of work inside those parentheses. But what I need to do is simplify what's going on inside these bars. So what are these bars right here? Well, these bars are indicating that this is what we call an absolute value. Okay, the absolute value, it's an absolute value function. And let me just make something super clear right here. Okay, this is something that I've seen for decades of teaching math. See, when you do something for a long time, you know, not years, but decades, you see everything, right? I know the mistakes students are going to make before they're even going to make them. Let's just take a look at a real quick example. If I said 2 parentheses x plus 5, okay, and I said simplify this, hopefully most people are like, oh yeah, I can go this way. 2 times x is 2x, and then take that 2 times that 5, and that's plus 10. And you absolutely can do this. This is an illustration of the distributive property. Okay, no problems there. What about this? 2 absolute value of x plus 5, absolute value. Okay, this is an absolute value function. Do not confuse absolute value functions. In other words, don't confuse the distributive property with something like this. Okay, this has nothing to do with the distributive property. In other words, you can't go like this: 2 times x plus 2 times 5, which is 10, right? You cannot do this, right? That's not like this. So don't make that mistake, okay? So whatever is inside the absolute value function, you have to work with that separately, all right? So just really want to emphasize that as we get into this problem. Now, if you're new to my YouTube channel and my videos, you might think that I'm like giving you a lot of explanation. Well, yes, I'm trying to give you a lot of explanation. I'm trying to teach you math, right? For those of you that are serious about learning mathematics, I could do this problem in like 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the answer. It's not about my ability to do the problem. It's about your understanding of all the little relevant pieces that that are involved in this problem, that, you know, things that you could see. All right, so we got absolute value going on here. So we need to simplify what's inside of this. So let's get back to that right now. All right, so here we have -3 minus a -7. So we got to be very careful here. You got to know your positive and negative numbers. So what we're going to do here is, this is -3 minus a -7, the opposite of a -7, which is going to be a +7. Or if you go plus negative, negative of negative, or negative times a negative, it's +7. So hopefully you have you know, the current math skills to see that a negative of a negative is going to be positive. So -3 minus -7 is going to be -3 plus 7. All right, so any of the stuff that's troubling you, just make a little you know, shopping list to pick up some math skills, whatever you need. Or like, oh, I don't understand this, I don't understand that. But whatever you don't understand, make sure you follow through and get help on it. All right, so here we got -3 plus 4, which of course is going to be 4. So finally, we have -2 parentheses, -4 plus the absolute value of 4 and parentheses. All right, so now let's go and focus on this part right now. So we're still working inside the parentheses. We're going to have to deal with the absolute value of 4. What is the absolute value of a +4? It happens to be +4. Now, for those of you that have questions on absolute value, again, I'm going to definitely direct you towards my pre-algebra course. Okay, you definitely need to understand absolute value, very, very important. But the absolute value is basically the distance a number is from 0. So here is 0 on the number line. Here is 4. So how far is 4 from 0 on a number line? It's 4 units away. That's basically what absolute value means. All right, so now we have -2 times -4 plus 4. So we're still using the order of operations. We're still working inside those parentheses. So -4 plus 4 is 0. Okay, now we have -2 times 0, which of course anything times 0 is going to be 0. And there you go. There is our lovely answer, 0. So again, sometimes when you're doing a math problem and you come up with a 0 as your answer, you might be shaking your head like, hey, did I do something wrong? Well, you got to trust your problem-solving process. Okay, and the only way to really have high confidence in what you're doing is to just take it one step at a time. Like right one step, like, okay, I'm looking pretty good. Take another step. You got to be neat and organized. Take another step and just kind of work it just like this and double check as you go. All right, no one's perfect in math. I still make math errors from time to time. I try to reduce them. Okay, so you're not going to have 100% perfect, even if you understand exactly what you're doing. It's very much like driving a car. You get a little tiny distraction, something on your cell phone goes off, or a bird flies by out the window and you look, or someone calls your name, or you just start daydreaming about whatever. It's like driving a car down the road. You just slightly just take it, your mind just goes off in one direction and you can make a little tiny error. So the trick is try to catch these errors before you turn in your final answer. Okay, so you want to audit yourself, kind of grade yourself step by step. If you truly embrace what I'm telling you, you're going to be outstanding at mathematics. Okay, so be neat, organize, double check as you go. But hopefully this little video kind of gave you some good reminders and things on basic mathematics like this. Okay, so with that being said, I wish you all the best in your mathematics adventures. Thank you for your time and have a great day.